you guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. It is your boy Tornadoes, man, and I am back with a brand new video. And today we will be dropping two brand new videos because these are videos I've been wanting to drop, but I haven't had the chance to drop them. This is the 2025 Kentwood Carson tornado that traveled from Kentwood, Louisiana, all the way to Darbun, Mississippi, and it was a very, very bad tornado. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell, and turn on post notifications so you will be notified every single time we post a brand new video.
During the early afternoon hours of Saturday, March 15, 2025, a large, violent, and deadly EF4 tornado devastated areas in and around the Mississippi communities of Tylertown, Salem, Society Hill, and Carson, causing severe damage in multiple areas. Over the course of 1 hour and 20 minutes, the tornado, sometimes known as either the Kentwood-Carson tornado or informally the Kentwood, LA to Darbun, MS tornado by the National Weather Service, NWS, 2, killed 6 people and injured at least 10 along a path 67.16 miles, 108.08 kilometers, long. It was part of a larger tornado outbreak spanning from March 13 to 16, 2025, and the third of 8 tornadoes to be rated EF4, F4 or higher during the year of 2025, with the NWS offices in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Louisiana and Jackson, Mississippi observing that the tornado attained maximum winds of 170 miles per hour, 270 kilometers per hour, giving it a rating of low-end EF4 on the Enhanced Fujita scale. 3, 2, 4. Tornado began in Tangipahoa Parish, Louisiana at 12:17 p.m. Central Daylight Saving Time, causing EF1 damage to trees and structures before entering Pike County, Mississippi. There, the tornado caused widespread tree damage, damaged outbuildings and houses, and blew away manufactured homes, reaching EF2 intensity as it approached and entered Walthall County, upon which the tornado struck the Paradise Ranch RV Resort, destroying all of its cabins and over 200 campsites. Passing to the northwest of Tylertown, the tornado rapidly intensified and briefly reached EF4 intensity as it destroyed a well-built 2-story home and obliterated multiple manufactured homes nearby. Continuing northeastwards, the tornado fluctuated between EF2-EF3 intensity, continuing to cause widespread tree damage and more isolated damage to structures, killing 3 people to the northwest of Darbun before entering Marion County. There, the tornado damaged or destroyed numerous homes and caused major tree damage, striking the White Bluff area at EF3 intensity and entering Jefferson, Davis County shortly thereafter, where it damaged or destroyed multiple structures, including a manufactured home in which 2 more people were killed. Continuing into Covington County, the tornado damaged trees and structures, including a well-built wood home that received an EF4 rating as it shrank and occluded. The tornado dissipated at 1:39 p.m. Central Daylight Saving Time to the southwest of Collins. 3, 2, as the tornado was ongoing, a separate EF3 tornado formed and moved a nearly identical path through parts of Walthall and Marion counties, adding to the damages and causing an additional fatality. 3, 4, 5. Immediately following the tornado, recovery efforts were intensive, but many of the areas affected were left without disaster relief for months following the storm. Walthall County alone spent around $700,000, 2025 United States dollars, on cleanup efforts alone, but were forced to cease their operations for over a month as the county could not afford to spend any more without assurance that it would receive federal reimbursement under a disaster declaration. 6, 7. multiple other Mississippi counties were left without federal aid for over 2 months following the storms. 6.8. Meteorological synopsis. See also, Tornado Outbreak of March 13 to 16, 2025 section Meteorological synopsis. Map of the United States, with different colors indicating different risk levels. Storm Prediction Center Day 1 Convective Outlook issued March 15, 2025 at 1300 Z, indicating a high risk for severe weather across parts of Mississippi and Alabama. As early as March 7, 2025, the Storm Prediction Center, SPC, began to monitor the imminent threat of severe weather brought on by a large-scale trough ejection over parts of the High Plains and Upper Midwest, though, by that point, the large spread in possible outcomes represented in numerical weather prediction computer models prevented the SPC from designating a specific area at risk. 9. By March 9, 15% risks for severe weather had been outlined, the first situated over the Mississippi Valley pending severe weather on March 14, and the second in the southern United States for a second round of severe weather on March 15. 10. The following day, both areas were upgraded to a 30% risk for severe weather as multiple weather forecast models agreed on increasing threats of hail, wind, and tornadoes, including a supercell-focused mode with the potential to evolve into a QLCS threat. On March 11, an outlook described the March 14 system as anomalously intense upper cyclone, with a second upper-level trough expected to produce another round of severe weather on March 15. 11. March 13, the SPC upgraded the risk for March 14 into a moderate risk over parts of the middle Mississippi Valley, including much of Illinois and Missouri, alongside small parts of Iowa, Kentucky, Arkansas, and Tennessee. This risk was described as a regional outbreak of severe storms, driven by the risk of storms producing swaths of damaging winds potentially in excess of 65 knots, 75 miles per hour, 120 kilometers per hour, over the region, with areas further south expected to be conducive to the development of strong tornadoes later in the day. 12. The outlook for March 15 was also upgraded to a moderate risk as an environment more conducive for significant tornadoes as favorable wind profiles alongside moderate instability produced the conditions necessary for robust updrafts and intense supercells. A conditional risk was also highlighted further north into Ohio and Kentucky, which were expected to face a primarily non-severe event, reliant on the intensity of convection further south that could stabilize the atmosphere. That same day, as the system moved through the west coast, it spawned a high-end EF0 tornado in the Los Angeles area. The 1730Z Day 2 outlook on March 14, the SPC outlined a tornado-driven high risk over parts of Mississippi and Alabama pending severe weather on March 15. 13. This was just the third time that the Storm Prediction Center had issued a high risk as early as a Day 2 outlook since 2006, the prior two occurring on April 7, 2006 and April 14, 2012. 14. March 15, a large warm sector had developed over many of the Gulf Coast states, producing widespread dew points near 70 degrees Fahrenheit, 21 degrees Celsius. That morning, storms had begun to fire and develop across the northern edge of the area of elevated moisture. Temperatures to the south and east of these storms were expected to rise to 75 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, 24 to 27 degrees Celsius, with multiple bands of convection expected to initiate between 12 and 2 p.m. Central Daylight Saving Time. Moderate levels of instability, ranging from 1500 to 2500 J per kilogram, and elongated hodographs, forecasted to produce 400 to 500 meters 2 per second 2 storm relative helicity in the first kilometer of the atmosphere, was expected to favor the rapid development of intense supercells, and alongside strong significant tornado parameter, STP, values of 5 to 10, were expected to produce numerous tornadoes, some of which could become long-tracked or violent as the day progressed further. 1-5. Further towards the north, the consolidation of storms was expected to bounce stronger tornadoes to an area further south, with the northern structure highlighted as a potential area for bowing segments and embedded supercells across northern Alabama and south-central Tennessee, prompting the SPC to outline an area of higher wind risk over these areas. Across the vast majority of Georgia and western South Carolina and North Carolina, a weak, unstable air mass along with intense mid-level flow was expected to produce an environment capable of supporting supercell and line structures, with a risk highlighted for severe wind and tornadoes in the region. Storms that had initiated the previous day over the Ohio Valley were expected to continue eastwards as the day progressed, producing a risk for hail and wind, but as the day continued, forecasters noted the uncertainty of potential air mass recovery that could be conducive for a severe risk over Indiana and southern Michigan later that evening, with models showing weak instability below 500 J per kilogram that morning. Soundings from Louisiana and Mississippi indicated that the warm sector included steep lapse rates of 7 to 8 degrees Celsius from the 700 to 500 millibar, 3,013 to 5,576 meters, 9,882 to 18,289 feet, layer. A 125 kN, 144 miles per hour, 232 kilometers per hour, jet at 250 millibars, 10,366 meters, 33,999 feet, was expected to strengthen the region's wind profile, which, in conjunction with a lower-level jet moving eastwards throughout the day, produced an environment capable of all hazards, including the threat of strong tornadoes. 1-6. High risk from the Day 2 outlook issued the previous day for March 15 continued into the Day 1 outlook, accompanied by a 30% hatched tornado risk encompassing east-central Mississippi and west-central Alabama. 17. In the late morning hours, a PDS tornado watch was issued for parts of Louisiana and nearly all of Mississippi, and later, much of Alabama as a tornado outbreak featuring significant tornadoes, some of which should be long-track and potentially violent, was expected to occur throughout the afternoon and evening hours. 18, 19, 17. Tornado summary. Formation in Louisiana and track into Pike County, Mississippi. Trees are downed and sheet metal is strewn around after a tornado moved through areas near Kentwood, Louisiana and caused EF0 EF1 damage. Damage near Kentwood following the tornado. Tornado began at 12:17 p.m. Central Daylight Saving Time, UTC 5 o'clock, just off of LA 38 and to the east of I-55, 1 mile to the east-northeast of Kentwood in Tangipahoa Parish, Louisiana. Moving northeastwards as it followed the Tangipahoa River, the tornado quickly strengthened to mid-range, high-end EF1 intensity, snapping and uprooting softwood trees. As it crossed North River Road, the tornado snapped large branches off of trees at EF0 intensity before strengthening back to EF1 intensity as it crossed Irving Branch, snapping and uprooting hardwood trees along North Hayes Road just to the east. The tornado crossed Irving Branch for a second time before crossing LA 1054-1055. There, the tornado began to widen and damaged an outbuilding, removing the majority of its roof and an exterior wall. Continuing northeastwards, the tornado followed Sanders Road, rolling or sliding multiple manufactured homes from their block piers, one of which was later found to be anchored. Another manufactured home had its roof removed, with sheet metal tangled in trees around the property, and wood poles in the area were snapped. As the tornado approached and crossed the Potts Road intersection, another manufactured home had its roof removed, exposing its wood framing, and an outbuilding lost some of its roof panels. The tornado weakened to EF0 intensity shortly thereafter, gradually shrinking in size as it continued towards the Mississippi border, causing minor tree damage observed from satellite imagery and causing roof damage to another house as it crossed J.W. Schilling Road, then State Line Road into Pike County, Mississippi. 3. Upon entering Mississippi, the tornado continued to cause minor tree damage, crossing McNabb Creek Road and Ed Brumfield Road before turning slightly towards the north-northeast wards. Strengthening to high-end EF1 intensity and widening substantially, the tornado snapped and uprooted softwood trees along Smith-Alford Road as it approached the community of Progress. Moving through the southern side of the community, the tornado damaged multiple buildings, removing part of the roof from a house and uprooting a nearby tree. Just to the northeast, the tornado collapsed the walls of a barn, leaving the intact roof lying flat to the ground, before continuing northeast wards away from Progress as it continued to widen. 3. Crossing MS 575, the tornado uprooted multiple trees before moving through Simmonsville, where the outer circulation uprooted trees. The tornado further strengthened to high-end EF2 intensity as it destroyed a manufactured home, stripping it to its frame and damaging multiple others nearby. To the southeast of Dykes Crossing, the tornado removed large sections of roof systems from 2 manufactured homes, collapsing the exterior walls of another and completely blowing away one with winds up to 130 miles per hour, 210 kilometers per hour, along Dykes Walthall County Road. Moving northeast wards, the tornado continued to cause widespread tree damage as it entered Walthall County. 3. Walthall County, peak intensity, and track towards Marion County. Upon entering Walthall County, the tornado blew down entire swaths of trees, then crossed New River Road. There, the Paradise Ranch RV Resort suffered a direct hit from the tornado at mid-range EF2 intensity, destroying 210 campsites and all 27 of its cabins, and downing up to 135 acres of 40-year-old pine trees. 3.20 Multiple manufactured homes were completely obliterated and blown away, one of which was on elevated pylons. RV trailers from the resort were also destroyed, and one RV camper was thrown nearly 200 yards, left stripped to its frame among a pile of snapped and denuded trees. 3. Continuing towards the northeast, the tornado caused severe tree damage along MS 48, blowing the glass from the windows in one house and removing the entire roof system of another. 3. Well-anchored 2-story home swept away northwest of Tylertown with winds up to 170 miles per hour, 270 kilometers per hour. The tornado passed approximately 9 miles to the northwest of Tylertown and immediately to the northwest of Mesa. It strengthened to EF3 intensity along MS 98, completely blowing away a well-strapped double-wide manufactured home in which 2 occupants were injured. A metal frame was also found in the area, its origin unknown. On the north side of MS 98, the tornado very briefly strengthened to low-end EF4 intensity, completely destroying a well-built 2-story home with winds up to 170 miles per hour, 270 kilometers per hour, injuring another 2 people. 3.21 Anchor bolts were pulled from the foundation, of which its wood flooring was bolted onto, and some clips were found, but the majority of the damage was thrown behind the house and inaccessible to National Weather Service surveyors. Nearby, a house sustained severe roof damage, and a car was thrown into a field in the distance. 3. Surveyors noted that this area was one of multiple in Walthall County where the tornado likely attained EF4 intensity, but the most severe damage in rural areas of the county was often dealt to manufactured homes, which can only receive a maximum damage rating of EF3 on the Enhanced Fujita scale. 2.21 SPC Mesoscale Discussion Number 204. Weakening back to EF2 intensity as it approached MS 583, the tornado slid a manufactured home off of its block piers and completely removed the roof of another house. Along MS 583, multiple houses sustained damage to their roofs, and an outbuilding had its roof and wall panels removed. 3. Moving through mainly rural areas of Walthall County, the tornado maintained EF2 intensity as it snapped and uprooted softwood and hardwood trees alike. Passing over Harveytown Road, the tornado collapsed the walls of an outbuilding and destroyed a chicken coop and a barn. Nearby, a house lost its entire roof system. Along Old Holmesville Road at the Harveytown Road intersection, the tornado strengthened back to low-end EF3 intensity, collapsing the exterior walls of a house. 3. At around the same time, the Storm Prediction Center issued a mesoscale discussion noting that weather radar observations from the WSR-88D system at KDHC in Hammond, Louisiana showed a rapidly intensifying tornadic circulation. 22. Rotation speeds exceeded 60 knots, 31 meters per second, with brief periods surpassing 90 knots, 46 meters per second. Additionally, a tornado debris signature indicated that the tornado was lofting debris up to altitudes over 25,000 feet, providing strong evidence of a significant tornado in progress. Based on real-time radar analysis, the SPC classified the tornado as intense to potentially violent, estimating possible wind speeds exceeding 175 miles per hour, 282 kilometers per hour. 22. Additionally, the strengthening radar scans prompted a tornado emergency for areas downwind of the tornado in northeastern Walthall County, including Darbun. 23. Radar loop depicting the tornado as it tracked from Tangipahoa Parish, Louisiana to Covington County, Mississippi. Continuing northeastwards, the tornado destroyed multiple metal building systems, weakening back to EF2 intensity as it approached and struck Salem. There, numerous trees were snapped or uprooted, a church sustained roof damage and had its steeple knocked over, and an outbuilding was flipped onto its roof, left entirely intact along a tree line. 3. Just to the north on East Salem Road, the tornado briefly gained low-end EF3 intensity as it collapsed a metal building system. 2 more nearby were destroyed at EF2 intensity, along with metal poles bent to the ground, a damaged outbuilding, and a manufactured home shifted off of its foundation. 3. The tornado began to shrink in size as it approached the Marion County border, regaining EF3 intensity along Summers-McGee Road, obliterating a double-wide strapped manufactured home and destroying all sheds or outbuildings in its vicinity with winds up to 150 miles per hour, 240 kilometers per hour. The tornado subsequently became deadly as it destroyed multiple manufactured homes along Bethlehem Loop Road northwest of Darbun. There, 6 manufactured homes sustained varying degrees of damage from high-end EF2 to low-end EF3 intensity, along with severe tree damage. 3 fatalities occurred in the area, 2 adults and 1 child, along with 4 injuries as per the Damage Assessment Toolkit, DAT. 24, 25, 3. Weakening back to EF2 intensity, the tornado snapped softwood trees before moving into Marion County and the forecast area of the National Weather Service in Jackson, Mississippi. 3. Marion County and Jefferson Davis County. On entering Marion County, the tornado maintained EF2 intensity as it snapped and uprooted trees, blowing away a manufactured home and causing severe roof damage to a well-built home. Crossing Morgantown Road, the tornado continued to cause severe tree damage as it moved northeastwards. The tornado destroyed an outbuilding along Molly Road before briefly fluctuating from high-end EF2 to low-end EF3 intensity, collapsing the exterior walls of a house, removing parts of the roof structure from another, blowing away manufactured homes, and debarking nearby hardwood and softwood trees. 3. Passing through the White Bluff area to the northeast, the tornado regained low-end EF3 intensity as it snapped, uprooted, and debarked trees along MS 587. Weakening back to EF2 intensity shortly thereafter, it caused additional widespread tree damage as it crossed the Pearl River, then crossed into Jefferson Davis County. 3. Jefferson-Davis County, the tornado briefly weakened to EF1 intensity as it passed just to the west of Society Hill, uprooting and snapping countless trees. Along Hawthorne Road, the tornado damaged 3 chicken houses, then crossed MS-13, collapsing the walls of a nearby outbuilding. The tornado crossed East Fork Greens Creek, then strengthened to low-end EF3 intensity along Story Parkman Road. There, a manufactured home was obliterated, killing 2 occupants and injuring another. 3:25, 2 other houses nearby had parts of their roof structures removed. Weakening once again as it followed Smith Road, the tornado damaged 2 metal building systems and multiple homes, removing parts of roof structures and collapsing exterior walls. Freestanding poles in the area collapsed, and numerous trees were snapped or uprooted. As the tornado passed to the southeast of Carson and to the northwest of Bassfield, it caused severe roof damage to a house and uprooted softwood trees along MS-42. Moving over Alex Daly Road, the tornado snapped wood poles before strengthening back to low-end EF3 intensity, collapsing the walls of 2 houses and blowing away a manufactured home. 3. Just to the northeast at the MS-35 intersection, 2 more houses had most or all of their exterior walls collapse, with significant tree damage being noted in the vicinity. Another outbuilding was completely destroyed, along with a manufactured home that was separated from its undercarriage. Weakening back to EF2 intensity, the tornado continued to cause widespread tree damage as it underwent structural changes and narrowed substantially in size to 100 to 150 yards, 91 to 137 meters, causing the vortex to spin faster and rapidly strengthen as it crossed Bowie Creek into Covington County. 3:26. EF4 intensity and dissipation in Covington County. A wood frame home near Carson, Mississippi is swept away following an EF4 tornado on March 15. A wood frame house northeast of Carson swept away with winds up to 166 miles per hour, 267 kilometers per hour. Immediately after entering Covington County, the tornado strengthened to EF3 intensity as it crossed Blackjack New Chapel Road, unroofing and knocking down several walls of a brick home, obliterating a mobile home and wrapping its frame around 2 pine trees, shattering debris including a large oak tree, and snapping, uprooting, and partially debarking numerous other trees. Moving over Wilson Road, the tornado destroyed a manufactured home before very briefly reaching low-end EF4 intensity for a second time. A wood frame house, anchored mostly with straight nails and some anchor bolts, was completely destroyed with winds up to 166 miles per hour, 267 kilometers per hour. The majority of the debris was thrown downstream, including the wood flooring that was scoured from the foundation, and a nearby tractor trailer was overturned and pulled 30 to 40 yards into the vortex. Additionally, a metal building system workshop that was impacted by the tornado had its frame twisted and portions of iron beams lofted and thrown. 3:26, weakening back to EF2 intensity, the tornado removed the majority of the roof structure from a house and snapped numerous hardwood trees nearby. Weakening back to EF1 intensity as it crossed Colbert Branch, the tornado made a brief northward shift before turning due eastwards as it dissipated off of Spring Hill School Road to the southwest of Collins at 1:39 p.m. Central Daylight Saving Time, UTC 5 o'clock. The end of the damage path in the forested area was struck again by a separate EF2 tornado 41 minutes later. 3:26. This tornado was the deadliest of the entire outbreak, killing 6 people and injuring at least 10 others. It was on the ground for 1 hour and 22 minutes, with a path length of 67.16 miles, 108.87 kilometers, a peak width of approximately 1,400 yards, 1,300 meters, and maximum winds of 170 miles per hour, 270 kilometers per hour. 3:26. Aftermath. Damage and recovery efforts. 2 parallel scars consisting of downed trees are visible from satellite imagery in Walthall County, Mississippi, after 2 strong tornadoes tore through the region. parallel scars left behind by tornadoes in Walthall County. The westernmost scar is a result of the EF4 tornado, while the easternmost scar was from an EF3 tornado that occurred 41 minutes later. Following the storms, 24 homes were damaged or destroyed in Pike County, 182 homes, 1 business, and 6 farms were reported as damaged or destroyed in Walthall County, 27, 49 homes, 2 businesses, and 4 farms were damaged or destroyed in Marion County, and in Jefferson Davis County, a further 62 homes and 4 farms were damaged or destroyed. 28, nearly 9,000 people were left without power in Walthall County alone. 29, multiple agencies and organizations such as FEMA and the Small Business Administration offered both public and individual aid and federal disaster loans to the affected areas. 31, numerous disaster recovery centers opened in the wake of the tornado, including locations at Macomb, Tylertown, Morgantown, Prentice, and Collins. 32. Delays in recovery efforts and disaster declaration. In the aftermath of the tornado, Walthall County alone sunk over $700,000, 2025 United States dollars, into cleanup efforts, but were forced to halt all operations for upwards of a month as the county could not afford to spend any more without the assurance that it would receive federal reimbursement under a major disaster declaration. 7. By April 16, the declaration still had not been approved, and at places such as the Paradise Ranch RV Resort, debris still littered the ground 2 months after the tornado in May 2025. 3. On May 21, President Donald Trump issued a federal disaster declaration designating 11 Mississippi counties, including those struck by the tornado, as adversely affected by the storms. 31. Casualties. 6 people were killed by the tornado, 3 near Darbun in Walthall County, 2 near the Oakville Society Hill area in Jefferson Davis County, and 1 near Carson in Covington County. Around 10 other people were injured, although National Weather Service surveyors could not come to an exact injury count as injuries were recorded by county, and because a separate EF3 tornado had also struck Walthall and Marion counties, an exact number could not be determined between the two. 34, 8 of the injured were left in critical condition at the Southwest Mississippi Medical Center in Macomb and the University of Mississippi Medical Center in Jackson. 24.
Alright, y'all, and that is it for this video. This was the 2025 Kentwood Carson tornado. This tornado was formed on March 15, 2025 at 12:17 p.m. and dissipated March 15, 2025 at 1:39 p.m. The destruction was an hour and 22 minutes, and this tornado was rated EF4 on the Enhanced Fujita scale. This tornado had 6 fatalities, 14 injuries, and the damage was 5.5 million 2025 United States dollars. Areas affected was Tangipahoa Parish, Louisiana, and southern Mississippi, and Walthall County. This was part of the tornado outbreak of March 13 through March 16, 2025, and tornadoes of 2025. If you like this video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell, and turn on post notifications so you will be notified every single time we post a brand new video. Peace.